Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Bharjana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bharjana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Vishpad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtodra Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtodra Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 13, The Descendants of Dhruva Maharaj, Text 8 and 9. Atmanam Brahmanirvanam Pratyastamita Vigraham Avabodha Rasaikatmyam Anandam Anusantatam Atmanam Brahmanirvanam Pratyastamita Vigraham Avabodha Rasaikatmyam Anandam Anusantatam Atmanam Brahmanirvanam Pratyastamita Vigraham Avabodha Rasaikatmyam Anandam Anusantatam Avyavachana yoga ni dada karma milashaya sarupam avarundano natmanonyam tadakshata. All right, so word by word translation. Atmanam, self. Brahma, spirit. Nirvanam, extinction of material existence. Pratyastamita, ceased. Vigraham, separation. Avabodha, rasa, by the mellow of knowledge. Eka atmyam, oneness. Anandam, bliss. Anusantatam, expanded. Avyavachana, continuous. Yoga, by practice of yoga. Agni, by the fire. Dagda, burned. Karma, fruit of desires. Mala, dirty. Ashaya, in his mind. Sarupam, constitutional position. Avarundanaha, realizing. Na, not. Atmanaha, then the Supreme Soul. Anyam, anything else. Tada, then. Aikshata, sa. Translation. By expansion of his knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, he had already attained liberation from the bondage of the body. This liberation is known as nirvana. He was situated in transcendental bliss, and he continued always in that blissful existence, which expanded more and more. This is possible for him by continual practice of bhakti yoga, which is compared to fire because it burns away all dirty material things. He was always situated in this constitutional position of self-realization, and he could not see anything else but the Supreme Lord and himself engaged in discharging devotional service. Purport. These two verses explain the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 1854, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma Nashochati Nakangshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate Param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he achieves pure devotional service unto me. This is also explained by Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshashtaka in the beginning of the first verse. Chaito darpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagninirvarpanam shaya kaiva vichandrika vitaranam vidya vidujivanam. The Bhakti Yoga system is the topmost yoga system, and in this system the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the foremost performance of devotional service. By chanting the holy name, one can attain the perfection of nirvana, or liberation from material existence, and so increase one's blissful life of spiritual existence as described by Lord Chaitanya. Anandam Buddhivardhanam. When one is situated in that position, he no longer has any interest in material opulence, or even a royal throne and sovereignty over the whole planet. This situation is called Viraktir Anyatra Syat. It is the result of devotional service. The more one makes advancement in devotional service, the more one becomes detached from material opulence and material activity. This is the spiritual nature full of bliss. This is also described in Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Text 59, Param Dushtva Nivartate. one ceases to take part in material enjoyment upon tasting superior blissful life and spiritual existence. By advancement in spiritual knowledge, which is considered to be like a blazing fire, all material desires are burned to ashes. The perfection of mystic yoga is possible when one is continuously in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by discharging devotional service. A devotee is always thinking of the Supreme Person every step of his life. Every conditioned soul is full of the reactions of his past life, but all dirty things are immediately burned to ashes if one simply executes devotional service. This is described in the Narada Pancharatra. Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tat Padatvena Nirmalam. Almaganitavedandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmaditamena Tasmai Shri Guruveda Pakam Karidavachalam Pangam Gaite Girim Yakipatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitanam Vancha Kapadiru Bishta Kriva Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanibhu Vaishnavi Bhadavadavaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pavanitananda Shri Vedikadadha Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By expansion of his knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, he had already attained liberation from the bondage of the body. This liberation is known as nirvana. He was situated in transcendental bliss, and he continued always in that blissful existence, which expanded more and more. This is possible for him by continual practice of bhakti yoga, which is compared to fire because it burns away all dirty material things. He was always situated in his constitutional position of self-realization, and he could not see anything else but the Supreme Lord and himself engaged in discharging devotional service. So does anybody remember who we're talking about? Yeah, Udkava. Shivamar's son. So people, they want knowledge, but they also want happiness, and yeah, you could say that the two go together. I mean, even on a material platform, people who are well educated, they have a better chance, at least, enjoying themselves materially than people who aren't educated. At least in terms of material enjoyment. So similarly, but quite differently. If someone wants to be happy, they have to develop knowledge. And of course, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be a scholar, or they have to read every single Vaishnava book in existence, which they couldn't do anyways, because I mean, devotees have a hard enough time reading the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, what to speak of all the Vaishnava literatures. I mean, it's just some Rupa Goswami's books, and then Prabhupada's books, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's books, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's books, and then Jagadananda Pandit's books, and Murari Gupta's books, and just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. There's just an ocean full of books, which is great. But practically speaking, in one life, I don't think a person could read all those. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to do that. Of course, it's good if they do, and then that's, you could say in many ways, the best. But whatever the case is, a person has to somehow or other come to the platform of knowledge, which, yeah, Srila Prabhupada advised, okay, read my books. And I was just I was just reading, I was just hearing yesterday, Srila Prabhupada was saying that one cannot claim to be a member, belong to the Hare Krishna movement just by wearing tilak and neck beads. Of course, nowadays sometimes devotees don't wear tilak and neck beads, but anyways. But most devotees do. So, but he's saying one cannot say they belong to the Hare Krishna movement just by wearing tulsi and neck beads. And he was saying that a person has to come to the platform of knowledge. They have to know the philosophy. And he was saying that if somebody asks you what's the philosophy, a devotee should be able to present the philosophy, and the devotee should be able to dispel doubts and defeat other people in relation to establishing the Vaishnava philosophy. And he said especially the sannyasis. And you could say in many ways especially the brahmacharis, because part of being a brahmachari is that one studies. That's one of the duties of a brahmachari, is that they study. So that's what he was saying. If a person wants to say they belong to the Hare Krishna movement, then they should know the philosophy. And then he quoted a song from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it was a song describing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying that cheaters, disciples or followers of Kali, they were in times they wear tilak and neck beads. So therefore, Prabhupada was saying, it's just not enough. Just say, I belong to the Hare Krishna. But he's saying we have to know the philosophy and follow it. Because he's saying many people they wear tilak and neck beads, but they don't know, and also, they're not following, Lord Chaitanya. So of course I'm not saying that about anybody here, but that someone's a disciple of Kali or something like that, or absolute materialistic cheating devotee. But still, Prabhupada was advising us. We should know. That's what we should take from it. We should know. So it's not just enough to go to a temple once a week or go to a church once a week, go to a mosque once a week and know nothing of the philosophy and don't practice it, but we really have to dive within it. Coming to the point of knowledge, we may not necessarily, again, be some big reader or something, but somehow or other we have to come to the platform of knowledge, and that's what Srila Prabhupada is stressing. And knowledge will help us. Spiritual knowledge will, it says it acts as fire, and it will burn all the advancement in spiritual knowledge, which is considered to be like a blazing fire. All material desires are burned to ashes. So from knowledge means ignorance is dissipated, and we come to the spiritual level, level of Krishna consciousness. And in relation to that, in text 1 of the Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada describes this coming to the platform of knowledge. And he's quoting a shloka from the srimadbhagavatam, Maharaj Pricket, about coming to the stage of knowledge. And atonement is talking about atonement. So someone does something sinful or something immoral, and at least a good person, a pious person, will want to atone for it. It means they feel bad about it and they want to get free of that sin. I was talking with one lady recently at some home program, and she was saying that, nowadays people don't have any guilt, they're shameless. And she was talking about her ex-husband and how he ran off with some other woman, but she was just saying, he's just shameless, no guilt. It's not like previous generations where they actually feel bad about things, they're more religious and so on. He was an Indian guy too. So she's saying, the whole world's just, of course we can't say about everybody, but things are degrading people's consciousness, Kali Yuga. So, but good people, they feel bad about doing something which they think is bad or immoral. But, so then the question is how to get free from that sin, or how to not suffer due to that sin. And therefore people have this idea of atonement. So they do something bad, and then they go to the priest, or they say, my dear priest, I did this bad, and please forgive me, Father, because I have sinned. Or they go to the Ganges and they bathe there, and I did so many sinful things, I'm going to go bathe in the Ganges or whatever. And as Srila Prabhupada said, every day 10,000 or maybe more, every day 10,000 prostitutes, they take a bath in the Ganges. But then they just continue with their activities. So it's not just enough to commit sin and then just keep on committing, but one has to stop committing sin. One has to stop it altogether. And Maharaj Prikit is saying that, Shukadev Goswami, saying that this atonement that people do within religious systems, it's considered to be the elephant's bathing. Drishta shrutabhyam yat papam janam apyatme no hitam karoti bhuya vishvasha prayashchitam atokatam kvachin nirvatate badrat kvachit charati tat punaha prayashchitam ato partam manye kujara shochavat. So he said, it says that he can compare the atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant takes a very nice bath, and then he goes and rolls in the dirt. So what's the value of the bathing? So people, they commit all types of sinful activities, and then they go take a bath in the Ganges, or they go to the local priest. Or, as Srila Prabhupada says, similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract the offenses. So I just go do whatever I want, and all right, Krishna's merciful, he'll forgive me, I'll just come back and I'll chant Hare Krishna. Without cleansing the heart. And that is considered to be it's called Namno Balad Yasya Hi Papa Buddhi, committing sinful activities in the strength of chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says similarly many Christians go to the local church and do the same thing. They commit sins and then they go, please forgive me, and like that. So Prabhupada said that the real religious processes, they help one come to the platform of not sinning. And Srila Prabhupada would criticize modern religious leaders as why aren't the leaders teaching their followers not to sin? Well, because they themselves are sinning, and they don't know how to. But still, he would ask, why are they teaching them how not to sin? So that's the idea, that we don't want to just keep on committing sinful activities and bathe in, like an elephant. He goes and bathes and then comes out, rolls in the dust. We don't want to keep on chanting Hare Krishna and doing all types of devotional things, and we just go do a sinful activity and then come back. But we want to come to the platform where there is no more sinful activities. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says real atonement involves coming to real knowledge. And for this, there is a standard process. So there's a process to come to the platform of standard knowledge. It is not simply by reading books or attending lectures or attending talks or wearing tilak or wearing neck beads. That helps, sure. But there's a standard process. And then Prabhupada says, when one follows a regulated hygienic process, he does not fall sick. So that's a good side note, by the way. We shouldn't be falling sick very often, because when one follows a regulated hygienic process, one doesn't fall sick. So Prabhupada said sickness is due to a few things. Overeating. What's the other ones? Anybody remember? Uncleanliness and irregular habits. So if one is very regular in their habits, if one is very clean, and if one doesn't overeat, then one doesn't fall sick, generally speaking. Did you hear it, Prabhu? Yeah, Dharmaraj is saying you don't fall sick. That's true. He doesn't. Yeah. Oh, really? So yeah, I mean, generally you don't fall sick. You may fall sick by chance, but generally you don't. So Prabhupada would say that about young men. He'd say that about the brahmacharis. Said, "Oh, why are you falling sick? You shouldn't be falling sick. You're a young man. Sickness is for the old guys, right?" And even then, if you're careful, not necessarily. So we should try to, not fall sick, because sickness actually, it can be quite damaging to one's, you fall back on some rounds, actually sickness, there's a lot of tamasicness going on there. Not bathing, you're laying there for many hours, not chanting, not taking nice prasad, which is important for the consciousness, and it's actually in many ways a tamasic state, the sickness. So it affects our consciousness and negatively. And then, the mind may start wandering to all different types of interesting realms, non-Krishna conscious realms, all the past desires and impressions and like that. So it's important that devotees try by all means to live a hygienic, regulated life so they don't fall sick and not fall into that. I mean, there was one devotee who told me, he said he always listens to something at night when he goes to sleep, some kirtan or some lecture, and he said he actually listens to it all night, and then when he wakes up in the morning, it's still going. Or when he wakes up, he presses the play button immediately. Hare Krishna, and everything like that, or some kirtan or some lecture. And the reason being is because he said, yeah, you never know. You might just wake up one morning and think, yeah, what am I doing here? Like I'm out of here, and just like take off. Because the mind's so funny like that. Or strange. Because all the thoughts kind of bubble up. I'm here in the ashram. What am I doing here? And just like you run out the door, So immediately he puts on the kirtan. Yeah, it happened. It happens, yeah. And that's why Sheshka Prabhu says, right? He says, keep the vibration going, keep the transcendental vibrations going, because that conquers the mind, the materialistic mind. And also, it's, right when we wake up in the morning, it's very cleansing to hear transcendental sounds, because whatever happened in the nighttime, the dreams and this and that. So yeah, that's a side point, the hygienic process. He doesn't fall sick. So then Prabhupada says, a human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Such a methodical, methodical, sorry. such a methodical life is described as tapasya. So one is supposed to be trained by certain principles to come up to the platform of spiritual knowledge. And such a methodological life is described as tapasya. So that means austerity. One can gradually be elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna conscious by practicing austerity and celibacy. Oh man, Bhajanarayan Swami says this. He says that there was, I don't know, some monks and wherever they were in Rome or wherever, and been monks for many years, and they went down into the chambers of where they keep all the sacred scriptures and everything, and the monks looking in the books, and then you hear them, oh no, and then they go, hey, what's the problem? Oh, this is horrible. It doesn't say celibate. It says celebrate. So all these years, I've been a celibate, and I should have just been celebrating, So yeah, you do both. Yeah. By celebrations, you're able to remain celibate. Actually, Krishna celebrations. Practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possessions in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yoga asanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, refraining from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This is the easy process recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. So yeah, there's the following the four regulative principles and engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord, which, of course, it's quite a topic, engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord. And Rupa Goswami dedicates, the Nectar Devotion to that, and there's so many other books also describing. But if we do that, then that's our austerities, the four principles, and so on. And by engaging in devotional service, and by doing that, we could come to the standard of real knowledge, and then we're not victims of our own material desires and mind and senses. We're no longer like slaves to those desires. As Srila Madhavendra Puri says, Kama dinam katina katida palita dorni deshas tesham jata maina krunatapa nopashanti Utse jaitan atiyabade sampratam labdibudis tvamayata sharanamabhayamam yukshapmidasya. So, in how many ways have I sought to obey the seductive demands of my wicked desires? On and on. They've shown me no mercy, and on I've been trying to fulfill quench less unquenchable desires. But now my higher intelligence has awoken. O Krishna, O Master of fearlessness, please let me serve you with faith that will never be broken. So what he's saying is that, he's been a slave to his senses, and now he's casting those away, casting those material desires, those hellish material desires, and he's running to Krishna. Please engage me in devotional service. So if we want to become, we cannot become free from material desires unless we're engaging in Krishna's devotional service. We won't be able to make it. So celibacy, controlling the mind, controlling the senses, everything, all of these very difficult sounding things can only really be done if we engage in the service of Krishna. And if we don't, then it's impossible. That's why, if you wonder sometimes why devotees fall down. Prabhupada said, why do devotees, I don't know, someone's on a Harinam or something, and they, I don't know, they they see the restaurant, they see the people enjoying, and then they just, and then the guy disappears or something, and you don't see him for 20 years. He comes back, hey, what happened to you, man? Oh, well, I just got a little sidetracked, or John Mill or something. But so Prabhupada said that the issues come when one stops engaged in the devotional service of Krishna. That's when the issues come. So yeah, therefore we're advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, and that will provide param drishtva navartate. That will provide that higher taste, and that will bring us to a very high place. Providing the higher taste, bring us to a very high place. And I was just thinking about how Prabhupada said it to Govindadasi. Govindadasi, Prabhupada was in his rocking chair, and then Govindadasi was sitting on the ground there, and then Govindadasi was saying something, oh, Prabhupada, I want to go up to the hills of the high mountains of Nepal, and this and that, and Prabhupada was chanting japa, and he looked at her and he said, oh, I could bring you much higher than that. And then Govindadasi felt that she was immediately elevated right there to a higher dimension, like the spiritual world or something, and she really felt the power when Prabhupada said that. So yeah, by engaging in devotional service, we get that higher taste, and our consciousness is cleansed, right, gradually. And it is an everyday thing, cleansing of the consciousness, just like every day we're bathing. Usually more than once, but we're bathing. And why? Because there's accumulation of dirt, so we have to bathe. So similarly, within our consciousness, there's accumulation of dirt, so we have to, bathe our consciousness. And therefore, we're chanting Hare Krishna every day, and also we go to the holy places and other places associated with devotees and cleansing our consciousness. And that's what Lord Chaitanya is advising us to do, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, chant, chant, chant. Can't. Yeah. So Prabhupada said I don't know where he saw this article, but he said there was a woman and a man, and there's a little cartoon, what do they call those? Like in the paper, they have the little, what are they called? Comics, yeah. So the wife was telling the man, chant, chant, chant. And then the man was saying, can't. So then Prabhupada was saying, with the same words, can't, he could have said Krishna, 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 but he didn't, So we should be like the woman, right? The wife, chant. We should chant. So. All right, so does anyone have any, questions? Comments?
Just one word on this the celibacy thing. Many of you may not know there's a whole movement now called the incel. You ever hear the incels?
No.
These are guys, you can't get girlfriends for one reason or another, and they're so frustrated. Incel means involuntarily celibate. And they get online, they form groups online, and sometimes they get so angry, they become very angry at the girls, the ladies, because none of them will have sex with them, And there've even been cases. There was a famous one a few years ago up in Isla Vista, what is it? San
Luis Obispo?
No, Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
That Isla Vista is the student community there for the university. Mm-hmm. I used to run a little preaching center up there, actually, 40 years ago. And so he just went out and didn't want to, started finding women and just shooting them. Oh. Yeah, he killed a few ladies. It was horrible, So, but you can see it's just opposite to what we're doing, In other words, you're not trying to transcend the desire. You're just getting so angry because you can't fulfill the desire. This is right from the Bhagavad Gita. The kama leads to krodha, right? And the unfulfilled kama makes you so angry and frustrated, And so, but better proposal is to have a process by which you can, and I love this word, sublimate the kama, and become free. The celibacy is actually a way of staying free from the entanglement. And someone who's practicing it and practicing Krishna consciousness, getting the higher taste, realizes the value of it, you know. And so it's you can see how, you know, the philosophy is played out right in the world. If someone is involuntarily celibate, but doesn't have a spiritual process to sublimate that sex desire, and it just explodes. It goes crazy. You know? So but the value of celibacy is great. That's why it's so much practice. That's what one of the 4 regulations.
Wow, that's really interesting. Incel. Involuntary celibacy.
Google it, you'll be surprised.
So they get mad at they get mad at women, and they. Yeah. Yeah. So what else do they do besides just like getting together and talk and being mad about it? Well, maybe they should do something positive, like I don't know, get together and go take a hike or something, or I don't know, chant Hare Krishna. Yeah, maybe it'd be good brahmacharis. Huh? Take all that energy. Say, all right, guys, you're mad, involuntary celibacy. Okay, fine. We'll give you the Hare Krishna mantra. You could engage in the process. You become very happy and join the ashram. That's so strange. Yeah, these poor guys. Unfortunate. There's many categories of unfortunate people, apparently. So, God bless them. All right, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.